Hello there, good morning, welcome. This is Newsroom here on GHOne Television. My name is Lantam, Papanko. Let's take a look at the headlines making the bulletin today. And coming up, the Electoral Commission is assuring of producing a robust voters register in the aftermath of the NDC's Enough is Enough demonstration. Also coming up in the bulletin, we'll tell you how communities are struggling to access potable water as Galamsey bites harder. American comedian of Ghanaian descent Michael Blackson accuses the Ghana government of stealing his money. We'll tell you why. In sports, President Akufo-Addo has sacked the NSA director following CAF's withdrawal of the Baba Yara Sports Stadium license to host international matches. We've got details of all of these stories and more making the Newsroom Bulletin. Do stay tuned. Thank you very much once again for joining us. The bulletin is streaming live on Facebook with the handle @GHOne TV, also live on X, and you can check us out on Instagram as well. Illegal gold mining, known locally as Galamsey, continues to ravage communities across Ghana, but in the small coastal town of Biriwa, the consequences have become unbearable. Women and children, the elderly, now risk their lives every single day searching for the one thing that they can't live without: water. As GH1 News' Alice Aite reports, the hope of residents for clean water has dried up, just like the taps that once provided a lifeline to the community.
It begins with a trickle, if it comes at all. In Biriwa, a small town in Ghana's central region, water, once abundant, is now a precious, fleeting hope. Meet Adjoa Titiwa, a 90-year-old grandmother who, like her neighbors, has been anxiously watching her taps, wondering when or if water will flow again.
Abani ziala na nsune so habala ya 20 ama biba ya bosum ni yenyensu otutu pipe ole yechim ye bure bia obo oti ya asase bia obo oti ya otwe ni bure wo fa ni mo ejapaza nsigina manche bi na munye mo fa mampa bi sha.
The Ghana Water Company says nearly 60% of this catchment area is clogged with silt, leaving raw water sources inconsumable. This is because illegal mining activities have devastated the Setraheman water treatment plant, cutting off clean water to Biriwa and several other communities in the central region. Ghana, a major gold producer, is grappling with severe environmental challenges from illegal artisanal mining. While large-scale operations have permits, many small-scale miners do not, causing significant damage to water sources. Many taps in this area have become rusty due to prolonged disuse. But when water does flow, it's only once a week, often at midnight. Residents must stay awake to collect what they can before it stops.
Na mi ensu kakra ya me da ye koko aba ya mafa me woti bi ha ka do ihe mesafi ya kasa da du nsu a ya de bebo entum pemfa bi nhuro ya asi ya da efu nsu ni mbaba nkote idi nsu gu asa baka da hyeso no mo hyesia da moko wo nsu mu nti ebre nsu wudu ya ebre nsu abi o mo hwe.
Private water vending stations often lead to chaotic scenes, with tempers flaring as residents compete for the scarce resource.
We will be sick. will come inside.
For several months, residents of Briwa in the Mfantsiman municipality have faced severe water shortage, forcing them to rely on this contaminated water source. While it may seem like a lifeline, it's actually a deadly trap. The water is slowly poisoning adults and children alike, causing irreparable damage to their health. Women and children now trek for kilometers from Briwa to this abandoned sand mine, their only available water source. Despite the visible dirt and pollution, they collect it, knowing it is unfit for consumption.
But there's not yet the school, and soon for going to there. If you don't make sure it's only about Saddam and CB do go. Out of him, put away you, the my students now, the body is true. And so, and the mic. Or they HM 1 hour fit town had day now, when you miss no son, and Casabana was so may. Not when I done so in 2 men class and
This water, some people use it for cooking, washing, drinking, for anything. So when we doesn't come here, we not get water.
She saw us why they quack ben. On our bloody beno, ya de wonyantal, a bubble, and Bobo so my day coon, you know, name, Yakita my farmer. Say behind pay for the boom, a whole on yana, no more farmer to sell, bed no waka.
Experts say chemicals like mercury and cyanide from illegal mining and industrial activities contaminate water, air, and soil, which produce serious health risks.
And then what bank kitty be wom to before once and the bag grab from another baby. I just say a heat. A this Sijaduma, the Mumboban will before and Sana, the grab from her. I had a man before we never say. Young for me now, what I took a career in Yama be Basabasa. On the moon soon now, my family will use what we're into. See, Monsieur the Yard Brown, on tea upon a chopper. Or the Alba Mamma. Alba got him, the be I am of made one polyclinic. Yes, I want to be a bassa. As
communities seek alternative sources, they often end up with those contaminated with bacterial pathogens like typhoid. Dr. Maxwell Mante is the medical director at the Briwa Polyclinic, which serves over 7,000 people. He says typhoid has become the second most common illness in the area.
They usually present with abdominal problems, which eventually we diagnose as typhoid and then malaria. So our top 2 diseases here are typhoid fever and then malaria. We had the opportunity to speak to some of their opinion leaders, their chiefs and some assembly members, and then we raised this issue. So we advised them that they should desist from drinking from polluted waters. They should at least take pipe-borne water, which is at least treated. And then the open defecation problem, we urge the assembly members to especially take keen interest in that.
The Ghana Water Company has warned that if illegal mining is not kept, more treatment plants, including the Trifuheman, may have to shut down. The government is now under mounting pressure to find a permanent solution to the illegal mining crisis, or could pay the price politically.
Listen, woman, I mean, party yard now, and ya, other than Macano, me feel to Gumaba no fee, Lamin to Munka. I want you now, Naomi. And see, Mrs. there, and paying for 2 and more now. Sagala Missen or the Sala, in game 1 year, by 1 year, another 2 years, young shredder. Sagala Missen or the sense now. You won't say on all the sense now.
Mr. Abine there, Siciano, and ask some into some would be one. Oh, yeah, dear, my baby. Yes, Cheyenne to me and quite sentencing and coffin soon and farm, but I have more than no, I say, into your sir, by there, quite over for dying, so you're being sued. Now, you are no near the bay, I don't know, yes, sir, but breeder on wine. Oh, you are parliament, why, sir, what can I tell you? One and I go fire. They're upon a chamber, and my young rat. I know what about me, one kind of full parliament, so I bear brains, man, what was I a poor great, and you'll see about grab a go back to the 1 million, so young to I bet them.
ye kwen to galamsey nso me abetan na was what to pipe me abetan na was what to pipe nso ye hu baby a ofi nya biwa na ye wo ye mepo nti ye hu de galamsey no le say another day se galamsey na so le say na aba na nkasa nhwe no ye mo obeye na ye so ye nwonte nti se de minsu se me dan wa me edwuma aye basa
ebe ya 6 months na yenye nsumpu na ye da ho ye mofoma won mofoma luko school a na mofoma kakama okita galams na wona mokwa ho na ebi mpu kale bobo na ye hwe won nti asampanyufo da won hwan ya papa won che wo yo won hwa biri won ye hwe to aba galamsey no oboto ofiga na mpanyufo won tu so ofiga na mpanyufo nti mo obafa mo obaya afa ho a galamsey wo beja atu ma ye nya nsu papa ya no ma ye tumi ye nya ahodo ye da to aba mo wan gase ya pa edwuma mo won ye ma ye.
Calls are growing for an immediate ban on illegal mining and increased enforcement of regulations for legal operations. Community-led initiatives to restore and protect local water sources are also being encouraged, but until then, the people of Briwa, including Ajwa, the children and the thousands who depend on its dwindling water supply, will continue to pay a heavy price just to quench their thirst. Alice Aite, GHOne News.
You're still watching Newsroom here on GHOne Television. The Democracy Hub, organizers of the Fix the Country and Occupy Julobi House protests, are demanding an immediate resignation of the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Samuel Abujinapo, the Chief Executive of the Environmental Protection Agency, among others. The group is also serving notice of its intention to hold a 3-day demonstration at the Jubilee House to compel President Akufo-Addo to declare a state of emergency in the Galamsey menace. Addressing a press conference a while ago, the lead convener of the Democracy Hub, Na Densua, urged Ghanaians to demand reviews of all mining concessions awarded over the last 5 years.
Holding leadership accountable. We are not just calling for an end to illegal mining. We are calling for the resignation of those who have allowed this crisis to fester. We demand the immediate resignation of the following officials: the Minister for Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation, the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, the heads of the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, the Minerals Commission and the Forestry Commission. These are the individuals who have failed to protect our environment. We have turned a blind eye to the devastation caused by Galamsey, and we have allowed corruption and greed to destroy our natural resources. They have failed in their duties and they must go. I say to you, rise up, young people of Ghana, rise up and take your place at the forefront of this movement for change. Rise up and demand a government that works for you.
The National Commission for Civic Education has begun an indefinite strike commencing September 18, 2024. The Commission says this action is as a result of the failure of the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission to reconvene for the continuation of negotiations after a 7-day ultimatum given by the union. In a statement signed by the divisional chairperson of the NCCE, the Commission further says that despite the submission of proposals to the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission for the negotiation of allowances for the NCC staff since May 2023, Fair Wages and Salaries Commission has failed to come to the negotiation table. These delays and what the Commission terms as inactions from the side of the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission has worsened the plight of its members. Well, let's stay a while longer on this subject matter. Rebecca Colcraft is the divisional chairperson for the National Commission for Civic Education. She's joining us for a conversation on this. Thank you very much for joining us here on the bulletin. You intend to go on strike, or should I say you've already begun your industrial action, because you say the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission has failed to come to the negotiation table. How so? Give us a bit more detail. Help us understand exactly what has been happening in that regard.
Thank you. Good morning, and good morning to your listeners. So, as you rightly said, the NCCE Staff Union has embarked on strike commencing today, 18th September 2024, to press home our demand for better conditions of service and for the Fair Wages to expedite action on our negotiation and stop the unnecessary delays in our negotiation process.
With the delays, has the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission told you exactly why these delays are happening?
Well, we are reliably informed that Ministry of Finance is not granting them the mandate, but they are also not communicating that to us. So we take it that it is a delay tactics they are playing, and that they do not take us serious, and they don't appreciate the plight of the NCCE workers and the hardships we are going through. And so that is why they are employing such tactics to delay the process.
And what has been the reaction of the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, perhaps the Employment and Labor Relations Ministry, and what have you, to this industrial action which you've begun today?
Well, they haven't called us to the table yet. We are still waiting for them to call us to the table, and not just to the table, but we are asking that our demands are met. So we are waiting to hear from them.
Right. So this is an indefinite industrial action, I assume.
Indeed.
Until the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission decides that they want to come to the table.
To meet our demands.
Exactly what are the demands? What are you looking for?
So we are, since 2019, since our last negotiation was in 2019, and we submitted our proposals in May 2023. It was not until May 2024 that the Fair Wages came to the table. And on 4th September, which is the third meeting, we've only met them 3 times. On the 6th of May, 23rd July, and the 4th of September. They came to the table with a counter proposal that we rejected outright.
Very well. Thank you very much for joining us. Of course, we know that we'll be following this to see how far it goes, but we're grateful that you've spoken to us here on Newsroom. You've just heard us speak to Rebecca Colcraft, who is the Divisional Chairperson for the National Commission for Civic Education. And it's time now for the Election Hub.
Before your thumb touches the ballot sheet, you need to decide.
Why should you vote?
Who do you vote for?
How will the elections play out?
What do these candidates bring to the table?
And where will the shots be called?
That's where we come in. EIB Election Hub.
We bring you the finest coverage from all the 275 constituencies as all eyes watch the Parliament House.
The EIB Election Hub puts you in the center of the action, leading to the Jubilee House.
Not your regular programming.
Here is where Ghana decides. This is Ghana's choice.
The strong room for Ghana's vote is right here on EIB Election Hub 2024.
Maybe you know it, perhaps you've seen it.
But you've never seen the best till you see it on EIB Election Hub 2024.
EIB Election Hub.
Well, let's begin the Election Hub stories with the Electoral Commission, because the Commission has acknowledged receipt of the petition from the National Democratic Congress on Tuesday morning, and the party and its sympathizers embarked on a set of demonstrations across the 16 regions to present their displeasure at the current state of the voters register. Now, speaking to GHOne News, Deputy Youth Organizer of the NDC, Osman Nayariga, said if the Electoral Commission refuses to conduct an independent forensic audit into the voters register, the party will ensure that all 276 constituencies will also bring their petitions to buttress what they have already started.
This is the first. We hope that the Electoral Commissioner will listen to us and proceed to organize or produce an independent forensic audit of the register. Otherwise, today we have produced 16 petitions. Otherwise, they will receive 276 petitions. That is the promise we're making to the EC. We hope we don't have to get to petitioning 276, but we just hope that we can end at 16 petitions and the EC will do the rightful thing.
Now, in response to the NDC's demands and the nationwide protest that the NDC embarked on, the Electoral Commission in a statement assuring the petitioners of opened doors to engage the party further in its concerns about the register. The statement reads, the Electoral Commission has received a petition submitted by the NDC at the end of their demonstration on Tuesday, 17 September 2024. The Commission will review the petition and provide its response in the coming days. The Commission wishes to assure the general public that the process of producing the final register is in its early stages. The Commission is mindful that the voters register is the bedrock of credible, fair and transparent elections. We assure the NDC and all stakeholders of our avowed commitment to delivering a credible and robust final register ahead of the December 2024 elections. In the meantime, our doors remain open. We look forward to engaging the NDC on their concerns. Now, let's stay on this a while longer. We've been joined by the Deputy Director of Elections and IT for the NDC. That's Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer. Thank you very much for joining us here on Newsroom. You embarked on a massive demonstration yesterday to drum home your demands of looking for an independent forensic audit. The EC says they have received your petition, they will look into it, and then they will come out with their response. Does that satisfy you in any way?
Well, very well. As we indicated in the petition, we have given them a 1 week to deal with the issue. 1 week time, we are expecting a positive response from them. As we rightly indicated, the issue bordering the register is so serious that it's not an issue to be toyed with, because a credible register is synchronous to a credible, free, fair elections. And as I rightly put it, it was a strategy, manipulative strategy to rig the election. But our eagle eyes on them. And we are saying that within 1 week, if we are not getting any federal response, we have other plans lined up for them.
You say it's a manipulative strategy to rig the elections. What evidence do you have? And who are you saying wants to rig the election?
My brother, if somebody should sit in the Electoral Commission office and decided to pad the register with over 243,000 old transfers, added them up to the current transfers, what does that mean? What was the intention of the person? If the person also sit down, the people have not applied for any transfers. They have not come to appear before any returning officer. And about 15,000 of such people, their names have been moved from one constituency to another without even their knowledge that their names have been moved. What was the intention of that person? What is the person trying to do? Disenfranchise them? If your vote is moved from GHOne polling station to Bolga polling station, one polling station in Bolga, and you are in Accra, you're holding your ID card, thinking that on December 7th, you will go to GHOne polling station to vote, only for you to get there and you are informed that, look, your vote is no more here. Your vote is in Bolga. What happened to you? Are you going to fly to Bolga and go and vote? That means they have disenfranchised you.
Right, so with all
this
of this,
one we call a voter displacement.
So with all of this, do I hear you accusing the Electoral Commission of being complicit in deliberately trying to rig the elections in favor of one party? Is that what I hear you say?
It's very clear. You don't need a rocket scientist to tell you this. This thing that we are talking happened at the Electoral Commission. Nobody did it outside. all these things are done by officers of the Electoral Commission. I mean, so it's not done by outside body.
Yeah, but in one of the instances in Pusiga, for example, we know that the EC took action, and after that, the EC says they've by and large dealt with all the problems that you have. And if you have any further evidence, bring the evidence to them. Let's sit down, let's deal with the issue. So why did you even have to go on the demonstration in the first place?
We gave them enough evidence. All this I've mentioned, we gave them enough evidence with our meeting with them. We demonstrated to them the path they use. In fact, we were very charitable with them by giving them the software we use to analyze the register, both registers. Actually, if they are mindful of them and knowing that they don't, in fact, they don't even have an IT department. It's just a body they put together that is messing up the whole electoral system.
All right.
Otherwise, if they have serious IT department, they would have also gone in for the same software to analyze and get along with us. And we are saying that these people was a strategy because they know that Ghanaians by our nature don't go for vetting, audit. When it comes to exhibition, you don't go to check your names. Less than 30% of Ghanaians go to check their names during exhibition.
Right.
So they were trying to use that method to rig the election. Now the exhibition doesn't check.
Yeah, but I mean, essentially, the exhibition was to identify some of these discrepancies, and then these issues can be resolved. The EC says the final register is not out yet, and it's in its early stages. Now you've done your demonstration. You have presented your petition. The EC says they will look at the petition and give you an appropriate response. Is there anything that is going to make you budge, or the only thing that will make you budge or back down is that forensic audit has to be conducted?
Certainly, my brother. The magnitude of the problem it shouldn't be toyed with. It's so serious.
Right.
Their IT system is compromised. They agreed. The EC themselves said, yes, it's true. Our IT, there's a problem because some people can get into the system and just transfer people without their knowledge.
Right.
It's a compromised IT system. We're calling for an audit of that. And you see, another one is that, and we must be very clear with the EC. Look, just go back and read their statement clearly. That the register is in the early stages. Is that what they said? Is that not what they put in there?
Yes.
Good. When we met them and Bosman press conference too, what did they say in that statement? They said they had done all the corrections. All that we are talking about, they've also identified it and they've done the corrections. We gave them our hard drive and said, okay, then give us the corrected version. Up to now, they have not handed it over. Listen to their statement today.
Okay.
They are changing the goalposts again.
Okay.
How can you trust such a body?
All right. Very well, Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer. Thank you very much for speaking to us here on Newsroom. I'm pretty sure we'll have further engagements as this is still unfolding. But thank you very much for speaking to us here on Newsroom. Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer is in charge of elections and IT at the NDC. He's Deputy Director in charge of IT and elections at the NDC. Now, the flag bearer of the governing New Patriotic Party, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, has taken his campaign to the Ada East, Sege and Ningo Pram constituencies, where he's urging the electorate to give him the chance to leave the country. He's currently engaging traditional leaders, the clergy, as well as various trade organizations in the Ada East constituency. My colleague Musa Lansa has more in the following report.
They will be visiting 3 constituencies. That is the Ada East constituency, Sege constituency, and then the Ningo Pram constituencies, where he will be engaging traditional rulers, the clergy, as well as various stakeholders from various trade organizations. Well, earlier this morning, he went to the Ada Traditional Council, where he met with the traditional rulers briefly to tell them what he's in the constituencies to do. Right from that meeting with the traditional rulers, the Mankralo and other traditional rulers here, he went to the Ada Technical Institute, where stakeholders engagement is currently ongoing. Right from here, we'll be heading to Kase, which is still in the Ada East constituency, constituency, where he will be speaking to party supporters at the Kase Lorry Park before moving to the Sege constituency, where he'll be having a meet and greet session before holding a stakeholder engagement with various stakeholders, including traditional rulers, the clergy, and then members of the various trade groups, before ending up in the Ningu Pram constituency. So from these constituencies, he will move to other areas in the Greater Accra region, where he'll be wrapping up before the weekend, and then moving to another region where he would also continue his campaigns. That we understand he would be in the Ashanti region from the 20th of this month to continue with his campaign.
And that's it for the Election Hub on Newsroom today. And where will the shots be called?
That's where we come in. EIB Election Hub.
We bring you the finest coverage from all the 275 constituencies as all eyes watch the Parliament House.
The EIB Election Hub puts you in the center of the action.
Welcome back. You're watching Newsroom here on GH1 television, and today is a crucial day for Paul Evaname, the taxi driver accused of stabbing his girlfriend Jennifer Atieku, a UPSA student, to death 9 years ago. He's facing a verdict after a jury trial, with state prosecutors and defense lawyers set to present their final arguments to them. The jury, making their first appearance after a 4-month strike, will decide Evaname's fate. If found guilty of murder, he will receive a life sentence, as the jury's decision is binding. EIB Network's legal affairs correspondent Murtala Inusa, who is monitoring proceedings, is reporting that jurors have arrived in court awaiting the case to be called. Now, Murtala Inusa is joining us from the court live over the telephone line. Murtala, welcome to the bulletin. What more can you report to us from the courts? To have been able to connect to my colleague Murtala Inusa. Subsequently, we'll try and establish that connection and bring you an update from the courts. But you're still watching Newsroom here on GH1 television. Now, American comedian and actor of Ghanaian descent Michael Blankson has threatened to sue Ghana over a $1 million investment after challenges in recouping his investment. Michael Blankson vented in a series of posts on X on Tuesday that he had purchased Eurobonds to run the Michael Blankson Academy, a school he built in Agona and Sabah, but has had challenges with recouping his investments. He said the Eurobonds were to help pay for the lifespan of the free school, but the country decided to use the money to pay its debts to China, leaving the investors hanging. The livid actor called out the finance minister in the wake of his concerns on X. Now, here are some excerpts.
Who is the Minister of Finance in Ghana? I have a beef with this guy. People of the diaspora decided to invest in our continent, and they used our money to pay their debt and gave us two options. Either we take a 37% cut and receive 5% interest with 11 years maturity date, or no cut but 1.9% interest rate with 15 years maturity date. I'm very disappointed in my people for this. When I bought the Eurobonds, it was paying 10% interest, which will pay for the school, and then Ghana kidnapped the money to use to pay their debt. Almost 3 years later, tells me, oh, we are sorry, but we can only pay you 1.95% and we will hold your money for 15 years. Shaking my head. I did the Eurobonds because I figured that it will help pay for the lifespan of the free school I built. Ghana decided to use our money to pay their debt to China or whoever and leave us hanging. When I was wiring the money from the state, my financial advisor advised me not to, but I had confidence in my motherland and they proved me wrong. Ghana robbed me and a lot of other people that trusted them enough to invest in that country. Ghana stole the money I invested to keep my free school going, so now I might have to do a GoFundMe. Shaking my head. I had no plans on opening up a non-profit because I hate asking for anything. But Ghana took the $1 million I invested to use to pay for the life of the school. If it wasn't for the love and passion I have for the underprivileged youth of Ghana, I would have just handed my school to the people and walked away. But I can't. I will have to work a little longer than I expected to help those kids out. I'm taking Ghana to the World Court. They won't get away with this. Bonds only go bad if there is some kind of civil war. You don't take your customers' money and pay debt with it.
Meanwhile, Professor of Finance at the University of Ghana Business School, Professor Godfred Bokpin, has slammed the government over its debt restructuring program arrangements. Speaking to Na Dede Tete this morning on the Morning Star, Professor Bokpin cautioned that the worst is yet to come, since Ghana will start paying the mature debt at the same time the current IMF program ends. He asked the public to brace itself.
The point is that this is hard-earned money, foreign currency, people's savings, people's retirement, and all of that. But that's what happens if you have largely a government leadership that was partly irresponsible. You see, but bear in mind, whilst we've gone through a very painful process for Ghana to have a briefing space is for a very short time.
Okay.
If you look at the relief under the domestic debt exchange, I mean, the cluster around the IMF supporter program. So in other words, and the IMF should offer explanation for this. The reason is that the relief that they have worked out under the debt sustainability analysis, right, it has been designed to give maximum relief while the IMF program is in place. So that the program can be effective. But after the program in 2026, the country is going to struggle. If we don't see that now and begin to prepare, you will see that right after the program, the country may have to call for another program or maybe extend even the existing one. Because if you look at the domestic debt testing, the maturity clustering from 2027, 2028 going is huge. The country may not be able to absorb that. And then again, if you look at the external debt, the bulk of the relief has been structured to coincide with the timing of the IMF program. So right after the IMF program, the country will come crying. They're probably calling on investors.
Now let's return to the courts. My colleague Mutala Inusa is joining us with some updates from the court and the happenings in the courts, especially as the jurors who were on strike have resumed. Mutala, welcome to the bulletin. What more can you report to us from the courts in the aftermath of the jurors who were on strike earlier returning to work?
Well, Lantam, the judges of fact are on duty. Truly so, they have come up in court today when one of the cases that they are involved in, Paul Ebenami, a man who has been accused of murdering his own girlfriend sometime in 2015 November. He was 26 at the time. 9 years down the line, he is facing the jury verdict. And what is currently happening is that the prosecution have had time to address the jurors by way of their final addresses. Defense lawyers also did say, and if you look at the two submissions before the jurors, what the prosecution is saying is that their case is not based on substantial evidence, but is based on evidence of witnesses who have witnessed the incident. On the other hand, defense lawyers are saying that whatever happened is by way of accident. It was not a deliberate, and so the jurors should look at that particular evidence before them and return a not guilty verdict. What is current, before I came out to you, Justice Lydia Osemafo, who is a justice of the Court of Appeal, is summing up the whole trial for the jury to be able to return their verdict. And by way of summing up, what the court has done was that it took the jurors through day one, all the witnesses who have come to court, whatever they have said, what the law says about the jury system, what they need to look at, the elements to prove murder, and those that are not supposed to prove murder. At the end of the judge's summary to the jurors, they'll retire to come out with their verdict. But as we speak, the Justice Lydia Osemafo is summing up the whole trial, after which the jurors will retire, go and consider their verdict and come out. The court is saying that if you look at the justice delivery system, the amendment that has taken place, the law and the incident was committed under the old law, which was supposed to mean that if Ebenami was found guilty, he would have been sentenced to death. But because of the changes in the law, it is now life in prison if found guilty. So those are the things that the court had made clear to the jurors. But what is clear is that very soon the verdict will be known.
Very well, Mutala, thank you for bringing us that update from the court. Mutala Inusa is our legal affairs correspondent. Now, students have been urged to explore innovative ideas and pursue entrepreneurship as an alternative solution to the unemployment situation in the country. Speaking during the launch of the African Business Executive Club project in senior high schools, Carissa Carrington Nunes said that the alarming rate of unemployment can only be bridged if the youth transition from being just job seekers to creators through practical education module.
Despite Ghana boasting of a young population, majority of the youth in the country are either underemployed or totally unemployed. To reduce the unemployment in the country, African Business Executive ABE, an internationally recognized qualification program which gives students in Ghana the skills to build outstanding business career and also provide fast, affordable routes to a bachelor's or master's degree program, launched the ABE Club in senior high schools to enhance the employability of students and graduates. Carissa Carrington Nunes is the head of ABE.
ABE Global is a British awarding organization that focuses on skill development. ABE has been around for some 51 years and has been operating in Ghana now for almost 20 years here. One of the things I have seen across sub-Saharan Africa is actually the movement into technology. And everybody is thinking about STEM, ICT, and these programs, but no one is actually paying attention to the commercialization of these skills.
Carissa Carrington.
Now, Denmark's ambassador to Ghana, Tom Noring, has admonished the youth in Ghana to take the implications of climate change with all seriousness. This comes as the United Nations Development Programme, the UNDP, disclosed youth in Ghana were being used to deplete the environment through illegal mining, which is adversely affecting the society. The diplomat made this call when he spoke at the local youth conference of Youth on Climate Change here in Accra.
At the local conference on Youth on Climate Change and Collaboration, Ambassador for Denmark to Ghana, Tom Noring, noted that the youth, comprising 60% of the total population, must pay attention to the impact of climate change as future leaders. He assured Denmark's assistance for renewable energy in Ghana.
The countries like Ghana, the developing countries, the most vulnerable countries, have a right to go to the COPs and request the more affluent countries that have the opportunity, and also, to be quite frank, have been part of creating the climate changes. Demand of them loss and damages and other kinds of reparations. You need that. And it's understandable. It's there. It's part of the COP process.
Programs Coordinator for United Youth Initiative for Africa, Eugenia Yaira Agble, urged the youth to restrain themselves from illegal mining activities, a factor that contributes to climate change.
Surely the challenges they are facing is one that needs urgent action. And so they should do whatever means that have to be taken, whatever interventions, whatever policies that have to be put in place so that we can bring the situation of illegal mining within Ghana to a halt. And it's important that we take that action. And then we do not, let us not be reliant on people that are maybe within the mining sectors that are probably have influence in government, and so it makes us reluctant to take action here. Let us take the full force because this is harming us.
The participants were also encouraged to pay much attention to the kind of meal they consume because that can have an impact on their health. Local conference on youth and climate change in collaboration with other stakeholders such as UNDP, Youth Choice Foundation, the climate sociologist is aimed to inform the youth on implications of climate change and how to...
Let's take a look at some business stories now. Insurance provider in the country, Star Life and Ego Tickets, an online ticketing platform, have partnered to offer insurance coverage to patrons of various events nationwide. The pioneering product, a first in the industry, will provide claims to event attendees aged 74 and below who purchase tickets through the Ego platform.
Drawing lessons from the tragic May 9 Accra Sports Stadium disaster, which resulted in loss of life and lifelong physical damage, Star Life has partnered Ego Tickets to provide a secure event experience through insurance. According to the Chief Executive Officer for Ego Tickets, George Mensah, the time has come to give event patrons comfort and peace of mind, knowing they are protected in case of any eventuality.
The anxiety which comes from attending such events, football events, entertainment events, and any other event, be it religious, corporate, or anything, there is always an anxiety around it. Preparing to go, anything can happen. You are covered when you are coming to an event and something happens to you. At the event, when something goes on, we are all here where May 9th disaster happened. If people were insured, the coverage would have been better than it was.
Speaking on the sidelines of the launch, Head of Commercial Distribution at Star Life, Alexander Chimesi, emphasized the critical role insurance plays in society, highlighting customer satisfaction through innovative products that offer value for money.
We saw a risk out there with a kind of anxiety. We approach events such as soccer and the excitement that comes with some events such as the TGMA and such events. I mean, they go with that kind of excitement and anxiety, and it comes with it some related risk such as accidents, and these accidents could result in disability and even death.
Event organizer Murad Dabika lauded the creation of the product, saying it will create an atmosphere conducive to increased patronage during events.
As someone who organizes a lot of events, I think this innovation is one that has been needed in the market space for a while now. I'm glad that Star Life was able to introduce this with Ego tickets. I think it will help us event organizers be rest assured that should anything happen during the course of our events, our patrons of the event will be fully covered by Star Life Assurance.
A representative of the National Insurance Commission also commended the introduction of the product and urged them to prioritize customer satisfaction above all else.
Well, that's it for business here on Newsroom.
Thanks for joining me here on Sports Brief. My name is Monica Bukari. President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has sacked the Director General of the National Sports Authority, NSA, Doji Numekevo, with immediate effect. The decision reportedly follows CAF's withdrawal of the approval of the use of the Baba Yara Sports Stadium for Category 3 games after poor quality of the pitch and other infractions which was identified after the Ghana-Angola AFCON qualifier in Kumasi. Prior to his dismissal, the Baba Yara Sports Stadium, Accra Sports Stadium and the Cape Coast Sports Stadium has all been closed down for maintenance in response to growing concerns to the bad nature of the facilities. Now, Real Madrid began their Champions League title defense with a hard-fought 3-1 home win over Stuttgart on Tuesday with goals from Antonio Rudiger and Endrick, which cancelled out Dennis' equalizer. Stuttgart were arguably the superior side, but with Madrid goalkeeper Thibaut Courtois making a string of critical saves to deny efforts by the German side. However, Madrid got the lead in the first minutes of the second half in a quick counter-attack when Rodrigo crossed for Kylian Mbappe to strike from close range. Stuttgart found the equalizer with a header in the 68th minute, but Madrid substitute Luka Modric lifted a corner to meet Rudiger in the 6-yard box, and he nodded a header past the goalkeeper in the 83rd minute. 18-year-old Endrick slotted home a powerful shot from long range deep into added time to secure an edgy win for Carlo Ancelotti's side. Now, still in the Champions League, Unai Emery dedicated Aston Villa's 3-0 win over Young Boys in the Champions League to club legend Gary Shaw, who sadly passed away earlier this week. Shaw had been in a serious condition in hospital after suffering a head injury as a result of a fall. He won the Division 1 title in 1981 before also playing a key role in Villa's European triumph a year later, making a total of 213 appearances and scoring 79 goals in claret and blue.
This victory is for Gary Shaw.
And that's it for sports. But do join us here at 1 p.m. on the game on GHOne TV and Star FM. My name is Monica Bukari.
Now, Hollywood is set to honor its first fictional character on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Spider-Man, definitely not Marvel Comics, but it's a win for DC Comics. The Hollywood Walk of Fame announced beloved superhero Batman would be the first of his kind to receive such a star. Interesting stuff there that the fictional character Batman gets his own star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And on that note, we'll end Newsroom here on GHOne Television. My name is Lantam Papanko. Log on to starfm.com.gh for more news and have a good day.